Throughout the course of history, a silent and deadly killer has lurked in the shadows. It's claimed billions of lives in its millions of years of existence, and nothing can stop the sheer destruction it brings onto the bodies of living animals. This creature is known as Plasmodium falciparum, and as it's most commonly referred to, malaria. This pathogen is a protist, a eukaryotic single-celled organism. And this particular species thrives in the bodies and bloodstreams of animals, such as humans. Plasmodium possesses a wide variety of organelles, which it uses to continuously feed off human tissue and constantly reproduce. The pathogen survives by consuming the hemoglobin protein in blood cells. Such is the reason that some humans with sickle cell anemia, or another condition which may reduce the amount of hemoglobin present in the blood, may have some level of immunity against malaria, since there aren't enough resources to support a population of Plasmodium that's extremely high. Because the Plasmodium requires a lot of enzymes in order to feed off of the protein hemoglobin, it has a large number of ribosomes within its body in order to generate the massive amounts of protein. A couple of these enzymes are aspirate aminotransferase, which helps create the proteins needed for the pathogen to split via mitosis. And another enzyme that it creates is serine hydroxylmethyltransferase, which is an enzyme that assists the Plasmodium in breaking down the foliate groups found in the bloodstream, so that way it can reap the resources that are found there, and it can use it to reproduce and grow in numbers. So aside from the specialized enzyme the Plasmodium creates for digestion, it also creates glucose via its mitochondria in order to store energy, as well as phospholipids for its cell membrane. Since the Plasmodium is a single-celled organism, it will likely have little to no cell receptors on the outside of its cell membrane in the form of carbohydrate antennas, since it doesn't have to communicate as frequently with other cells because it's a single-celled organism that doesn't rely on other cells to deliver nutrients and such. Unlike multicellular organisms, protists don't perform a single task, but rather take on a variety of jobs required to effectively sustain themselves, repair themselves, and reproduce. The Plasmodium also possesses two organelles that it's obtained via endosymbiosis, or the process of a eukaryotic organism consuming a prokaryotic organism. But instead of digesting it, the eukaryotic organism, in this case the Plasmodium, allows the prokaryotic organism to remain inside it so that it can function as an organelle and help it with tasks such as energy production. One of these organelles is the mitochondria, which is found in all eukaryotic cells. Though the Plasmodium possesses a single large mitochondria instead of a lot of smaller ones, which is generally what most animal or plant cells will have. And it also possesses a plastid, which it also obtained via endosymbiosis, which is called the apicoplast, and it helps the Plasmodium to digest fatty acids from the heme in the hemoglobin. Additionally, Plasmodium has a coating of myosin and actin proteins on the exterior of its cell membrane in order to allow it to glide through the bloodstream. The cells of the Plasmodium often vary in size and form. In their unicellular state, some of the protists are long and flat, while others are short and thick. But when the Plasmodium gather together, they can fuse into a single-celled organism with multiple nuclei and multiple organelles from all the different Plasmodiums inside of it. These Plasmodiums, as a single group, will move around in a manner similar to an amoeba, and when necessary, they can split back up into single-celled, single-nucleus organisms. Just as a quick review, the Plasmodium has the presence of organelles such as nuclei, a cytoskeleton structure, a cell membrane, cytoplasm, vacuoles, and a single large mitochondria. Additionally, it contains many free-floating ribosomes and a prominent rough ER to help create enzymes. Unlike many other eukaryotes, it also contains an apicoplast to help digest fatty acids, and a merocyte coat with myosin and actin to help it move through the bloodstream. However, it doesn't contain any chloroplasts since it doesn't photosynthesize, nor does it contain a Golgi body or carbohydrate antennas, since as a single-celled organism, it isn't required to communicate or interact as much with other cells. It produces a variety of macromolecules such as enzymes to break down the hemoglobin of blood cells and glucose to power cell activities. It's different from a normal plant or animal cell since it is a single-celled organism that must perform all cellular activities by itself rather than relying on other cells to bring in nutrients. The cell varies in size and shape based on whether it is fused with other plasmodiums. And while the cell membrane is similar to most other cells, the entire organism is encased in merocyte, which helps it move through the bloodstream. So, despite their rather pathogenic and odd nature, Plasmodiums are nothing short of an intriguing and fascinating species. Should humans hope to eradicate malaria, it's vital to understand the cellular mechanics behind each of these organisms and understand how they operate exactly, so that medicine and science may be able to better combat them in the future.